Everyone around you seems to be moving forward. Someone you went to school with just bought a house. Another one just got promoted. Someone else is getting married. Someone started a company. Someone moved abroad. Someone already seems to know exactly what they are doing with their life. And then there is you. You look at your own life, and it feels slower, messier, uncertain. You tell yourself you should be further ahead by now. You scroll through social media, and the feeling gets worse. Everyone seems to be announcing another milestone: new job, new relationship, new apartment, new success. And with every post, you feel a quiet pressure building inside your chest, a voice that keeps repeating the same thought. You are falling behind. Maybe you should have started earlier. Maybe you wasted too much time. Maybe everyone else figured something out that you somehow missed. This feeling is so common that many people assume it must be true, that there really is some invisible race happening, that everyone started at the same line, that everyone is moving forward at the correct speed, and that if you are not where others are, then you must have done something wrong. But something strange happens when you start looking closely at this feeling, because the pressure you feel does not actually come from your life. It comes from comparison, and comparison is not just a habit, it is a psychological system. Your brain runs automatically. Your brain is constantly measuring progress, measuring status, measuring position. This is part of how humans evolved. For most of human history, survival depended on where you stood inside a group. Who had resources? Who had influence? Who had security? Your brain developed systems to constantly evaluate where you were in relation to others. Even today, those systems are still running. But something about the modern world has changed the scale of comparison completely. 200 years ago, the people you compared yourself to were limited. Your village, your town, your community, maybe a few dozen lives. Today, your brain is comparing your life to thousands of people you have never met, people whose lives you only see through carefully edited highlights. Your brain was never designed to process that many comparison signals, but it still tries. Every time you see someone else's success, your brain updates an internal map, a map of where you think you stand, and that map is controlled by a system deep inside your brain that researchers often associate with the default mode network. This system becomes active when you reflect on yourself, when you imagine what other people think about you, when you replay conversations, when you picture alternative versions of your life. It is the network responsible for internal storytelling, and the story it builds about your life is constantly being updated by comparison. You see someone achieving something. Your brain asks a question. Why not me? Not in a loud, dramatic way. In a quiet background calculation, your brain measures timelines, their age, your age, their career, your career, their progress, your progress. And slowly, the system begins constructing a narrative. Everyone else is ahead, but this narrative is built on incomplete information. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes experience to someone else's highlight reel. You see their achievements, but you do not see their confusion. You see their milestones, but you do not see the years of uncertainty before them. You see the moment they crossed a finish line, but you never saw the starting point they began from. The brain ignores those missing details. It only sees outcomes, and outcomes become evidence. Evidence that others are moving faster. Evidence that you are late. Over time, this comparison begins to create a powerful emotional illusion. It feels like there is a universal timeline everyone else is following. Graduate by this age. Build a career by this age. Find a partner by this age. Become financially stable by this age. The timeline feels real because you see so many people moving along it. But if you look carefully, something surprising appears. The timeline does not actually exist. It is not a rule of life. It is a pattern your brain constructed by observing others. And because your brain loves patterns, it begins treating that pattern as a law. But human lives do not follow a single timeline. They follow thousands of different ones. Some people find their direction early. Others wander for years before discovering what matters to them. Some people achieve success quickly. Others build it slowly over decades. Some people reach certain milestones and later realize those milestones did not bring the meaning they expected. From the outside, their lives looked like they were ahead. From the inside, they felt lost. But comparison rarely shows you that part. Your brain fills in the blanks with assumptions, and those assumptions quietly shape how you feel about your own progress. There is another psychological mechanism involved here. Dopamine prediction systems. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the chemical of pleasure, but it is more accurately the chemical of expectation. It drives motivation by signaling whether you're moving toward something valuable. When your brain believes you are progressing toward a goal, dopamine increases motivation. But when your brain believes you are falling behind a goal, dopamine drops. And when you constantly compare yourself to people who appear further ahead, your brain begins predicting that you are losing the race. Even if there was never a race to begin with, your motivation decreases, your self-confidence drops, and the narrative strengthens. Everyone else is moving forward. You are not. This is one of the most powerful psychological illusions of modern life. Because the comparison clock never stops, there will always be someone younger who achieved something faster, someone richer, someone more successful, someone who seems more certain. If your brain uses them as the standard, you will always appear behind. The system is rigged against you, not because others are succeeding, but because your brain is comparing across completely different lives, different opportunities, different starting points, different struggles, different priorities. Your brain compresses all of that complexity into one simple judgment, ahead or behind. But life is not a racetrack. It is a landscape. Some people run straight lines. Others take long winding paths. Some climb mountains early. Others wander through valleys before discovering their direction. From far away, it might look like some paths are slower, but up close, they lead to entirely different destinations. And the strange part is that many people who appear ahead are secretly asking the same question you are. They look at someone else and feel the same pressure, the same uncertainty, the same quiet fear that they are not moving fast enough. Comparison is contagious. It spreads silently through social observation, each person believing everyone else is doing better, even when that belief is not true. So what changes this pattern? Not forcing yourself to stop comparing. Your brain will continue doing that automatically. The shift begins when you question the timeline your brain is using. Ask yourself a simple question. Who decided the schedule you're measuring yourself against? Was it you, or was it the accumulation of other people's lives that you happen to observe? When you start looking closely, you realize most timelines were never chosen intentionally. They were absorbed from culture, from social media, from family expectations, from the people around you. But a borrowed timeline will always feel heavy because it was not designed for your life. Your brain thinks you are falling behind, but falling behind only exists when there is a fixed track, and most lives are not tracks. They are experiments. Experiments in discovering what matters. Experiments in discovering who you are. Experiments in discovering what kind of life actually feels meaningful to live. Some people reach that clarity quickly, others take longer. But the timeline of discovery is different for everyone. And the moment you stop measuring yourself against someone else's pace, something interesting begins to happen. Your brain relaxes, not because everything is suddenly perfect, but because the race disappears. And when the race disappears, progress becomes easier to see. The small things, skills you have built, experiences you have survived, lessons you have learned, relationships you have grown. These things rarely appear on the comparison timeline, but they shape your life far more than public milestones ever will. Many people spend years believing they are behind, only to look back later and realize something surprising. The path they thought was slow was actually preparing them with skills others never developed, with resilience others never needed to build, with clarity that only comes from wandering. The truth is, there is no universal schedule for becoming who you are meant to become. There is only the path you are currently walking. And the strange thing about life is that paths often make sense only in reverse. Years that once looked like wasted time later become turning points. Moments that felt like delays later become the experiences that shaped your direction. The brain struggles to understand this while you're still inside the journey because the brain loves certainty. It wants to know you are moving the right way, at the right speed, toward the right destination. But life rarely reveals that information early. You discover it gradually, through choices, through mistakes, through exploration, and through time. So if you feel like you are falling behind everyone else, pause for a moment and consider something. You might not be behind. You might simply be on a path that has not revealed its destination yet. And sometimes, the paths that take longer are the ones that lead somewhere entirely different, somewhere you could not have reached by rushing. The brain may still whisper that you are late, but that whisper is just an old comparison system trying to measure a life that cannot actually be measured, because the truth is much quieter than the voice of comparison. You are not behind. You are still becoming, and becoming rarely follows a schedule.